Hi guys, today we're going to demonstrate on how to fit your knee flexion Dynasplint properly. First off, the Dynasplint goes from 50 degrees of flexion to 140 degrees of flexion. The serial number is stamped on the inside of each cam. Flip the splint around so you can see this. There you go. And there are several different ways to fit the splint. I personally think the easiest way to apply the splint is to open the front of thigh cuff and the shin cuff and fillet the splint open. So how to simply do that, just gonna open it. You always wanna fasten the cuff to itself so that it doesn't get stuck on any of the other cuffs. Now we have the splint filleted open. To apply the splint, you can be standing, slip your knee into the splint, and you can push up on this D-wire in the back to open the D-wire on top. You're gonna open your cuff, feed it through. You can also be sitting down and doing this, so I'll kind of redo this really quick so you can see a different option. So you can have the splint up like this, and then sit down on a chair on the back cuff. And when you sit down on the back, it opens up this D-wire really wide so that you can slip this through very easily. You do want to use your other hand if you have access to do so to tighten it and just do a little shimmy shimmy. You're going to want to make sure that there's about 1 finger's worth of space so that it's not too tight. I also like to make sure that the splint cam is just a tad bit higher than the joint, because once you add the tension on the splint is going to have a tendency to slide. Sometimes your rep might put a little foam on the inside to prevent it from slipping down. That is just an option. So you may or may not have this butterfly strap on the back. That is also going to be up to your rep and the proper fitting for you. You want to make sure that this top bar, or strut as we call it, is pointing straight to your hip. The joint of the splint is mimicking the knee joint. And if there is tension on the splint, this bar is going to pull back. So you want to push it forward with your hand. And as you can see, this is not open very much. So if you simply push on the D-wire in the back, it opens up the D-wire very easily so that you can feed through the shin cuff. You're simply going to feed the shin cuff through, and you do want to come over and bring this strut forward and then actively push this forward and shimmy this nice and snug. Your rep may draw a line right here, or they may outline the cuff for you so you know how far to bring it. You can use the splint sitting down, in a wall slide, lying down, several different ways for you to use the splint. One way is sitting in a chair and using a towel or blanket to bolster so that you can be sure that your foot is not touching the floor so that the stretch can be employed properly, and you want to just relax into the stretch. So watch TV, listen to music, something that's going to distract you so that you can comfortably wear your Dynasplint for the appropriate amount of time. To remove the splint, you're simply going to open the front of thigh cuff. You can remove the bolster, open up the shin cuff, fold it back. Always make sure that your straps are fastened to themselves so that they don't get stuck on anything else, and simply remove the splint. If you have